Hi, and welcome to the cold read of I Am a Time Bomb, original screenplay written by me, Darek Kowal, and performed by myself and two wonderfully talented actors. First off is Zach Franks. Zach, introduce yourself.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Zach Franks. I'll be. You want me to say who I'm reading?
Sure, go for it. Anything you want to say. Build yourself up.
I'm here reading The Voice as well as several as well as the sort of the action expositional stuff. Yeah, really thrilled to be doing this and thrilled to be working with Derek again.
Oh, you don't have to lie already. And we also have
Well, you're paying me, yeah.
and as the character of Ben, we have Michael Heimos. Say hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. That's an old vaudeville joke. I am happy to be here from Los Angeles, working with you guys, and haven't seen Derek in years, and glad I could do this with you guys.
And guys, thank you both so much.
LA.
I know, right? This is so cool. Thank you guys both so much. Yeah, Michael is in LA. Zach and I are home, sweet home in Chicago. And so this is an original screenplay. Like I said, it's called I Am a Time Bomb. It's, I would say, dark comedy, almost Twilight Zone-esque, as Zach has put it. I wrote, this is very, very fresh. I literally finished the first draft maybe a week ago. At this point, I'm considering putting it as it's a screenplay right now. It may be adapted into a play, and we are just gonna go right into it. And hope you enjoy our performance.
You sound so professional. Have you ever thought of doing radio?
I will. Hey, I will take anything. You know, if someone wants to give me money, far be it from me to stop them.
There's some really cool podcast kind of style radio plays that are being done that I mean, there's some really cool ones.
That could be a good thing too. Yeah.
You guys, hey, if anyone has a podcast, let me know. I'm happy to blather on and on endlessly about myself. I mean, this is the most narcissistic thing I could do. Hey guys, show up and read my stuff. But that said, all right, we're gonna get started. Zach, go for it.
All right. I Am a Time Bomb, written by Darek Kowal. Fade in. Beep, beep, beep. The sound carries over shots of a massive field, tall weeds, some hills, birds chirping, sun shining over a generally pleasant aesthetic until we land on Max, late 20s, a bit scrawny, painfully polite, laying face down in the dirt, eyes shut. Slowly, he wakes, rolls to his back. His eyes adjust to the bright sun as we follow his gaze up to his wrist, and a metal cuff connected to a metal box with a digital screen counting down from 12 hours, 25 minutes. The source of the beeps connected to Ben, late 50s, big and broad, no nonsense, who towers over Max, glaring at him.
Huh.
Max scrambles to his feet, tries to run, but ends up on his ass, his shoulder nearly yanked from the socket. Max groans. Ben clutches him by his shirt, pulls him up with his free arm.
Hey.
Max flinches.
Listen to me.
Max waits.
Are you gonna say something?
What did I just say?
Ben thrusts his finger in Max's face. Max furrows his brow. What did you just say?
All right.
Ben lowers his finger, satisfied he's made his point. Max waits another moment, slowly realizing nothing's coming.
Well?
What?
Where are we?
Ben looks around as if the thought hasn't crossed his mind.
I don't know.
You don't... Then why...
Hey!
Ben points his finger again. This time Max is less threatened, more confused.
I woke up first.
Ben lets his point sink in before Max can respond. Beep. Louder. Beep. They both turn to the digital screen. The counter continues. Max moves his finger to the screen. Ben swats it away.
Hey!
Don't do that.
Ben looks to the screen, doesn't know what to do.
Okay. Touch it.
Max smirks, presses the screen in. The numbers become words. I am a time bomb.
Oh, fuck.
Why did you do that?
I didn't...
God damn it, kid. Okay, shut up.
I wasn't talking.
Ben sneers.
I need to think.
The beeping continues. Ben scans the field. Max waits, eyes darting back and forth from Ben to the ticking time bomb. Can't wait any longer. Max runs north and ends up back on his ass. He groans, looks up. Ben is once again staring down at him.
You. Follow me.
You were taking too long.
Get up.
Max crawls to his feet.
Now.
Ben steps north. Max follows. The beeps quicken.
Wait!
They look at the screen. The countdown quickens.
God damn it.
They step back to where they once were. The countdown returns to its normal pace.
Nice work.
Me?
Just let me think.
Ben scans the field again. The beeping continues.
That thing's still ticking.
Ben ignores.
It's still ticking, man.
You're so full of ideas? By all means.
Ben gestures. Max considers about to take a step. Looks to Ben.
Please.
Max steps south. Ben follows. The beeps quicken.
Wait!
They step back.
I told you.
Hang on.
Max steps east. Ben holds his ground. Max looks back. Please. Ben begrudgingly gestures. Get on with it. They step east. The beeps quicken. They step back.
All right, kid. That's enough.
Wait.
Max puts up a hand. Ben doesn't like this. We can see the wheels turning in Max's mind. Last chance. He takes a deep breath and steps west. But Ben holds his ground.
We aren't going anywhere.
It's the only...
Kid.
Ben straightens his posture. Max concedes, then Max pulls west with everything he has. But it's not enough. Ben doesn't budge, he just smirks, amused. Max grits his teeth, keeps pulling, digging his feet into the ground. Ben shakes his head until his feet slip forward a centimeter, surprise in his eyes, as Max dives, hurling himself and Ben forward a few feet. Max hits the ground, looks to the bomb. The beeps keep their pace. Max gets back on his feet, turns to Ben, then a few more cautious steps. The beeps keep their pace. Max looks back at Ben, smiles. Ben ignores. Yanks Max forward, retaking the lead. Exterior field westbound day. Ben and Max trudge through the field, the time bomb swaying between them. 12 hours, 4 minutes, 57 seconds, and counting. Max takes a closer look at the metal cuff. The cuff itself is a separate piece, connected to the side of the bomb, but not sealed or welded. There is a clear seam between the two, thinner than a credit card. Max lifts his arm for a closer look.
It's a time bomb. Or do you think it was lying?
It's 3 pieces. I don't know how the cuffs are attached. Maybe magnetic?
What are you, an engineer?
Not exactly.
What does that mean?
Ben grabs Max's attention.
Well, not like professionally, not like a job, but maybe some. I like to build things, but
Ben stops. Max gives a yes or no glare.
No.
Then stop fucking with that thing before you get us both killed.
Ben yanks Max forward. They walk in silence a few yards until something catches Ben's eye.
What the hell?
Max follows Ben's gaze, 20 feet ahead in the middle of the field. A coffee maker and 2 ceramic mugs. Ben and Max look to each other, then approach with caution. They stop a foot away, neither sure what to do. Max looks to Ben, who gestures, well, go ahead. Max sighs, slowly kneels down, face to face with the tiny coffee maker. He takes a deep breath, working up the courage, and then tentatively reaches for the lid. Ben leans back, trying to create as much distance between he and the coffee maker as possible, in case it's a trap. He even lines up Max in hopes that he takes the brunt of it. Max, trembling fingers, grips the lid. Another deep breath, and then Max flips the lid open. He and Ben wince. But nothing happens. Max looks inside.
It's full.
Ben looks, hiding his cowardice.
Good. Make me a cup.
Max turns to Ben. Seriously? He shakes his head, turns on the coffee maker. Beep. Their eyes whip to the time bomb. The clock has stopped. 12 hours. They look to each other, even more confused, then to the coffee maker. Drip, drip, drip. Moments later, Ben and Max each hold a fresh cup of coffee about to drink. Max realizes Ben is staring at him.
What?
Go ahead.
I feel like with the time bomb and all, poisoning the coffee would be a little redundant.
Ben waits. Max takes a sip. Swallows. Still alive. Satisfied, Ben takes a sip. They drink their coffee. It's oddly normal. Ben offers his mug.
Ben.
Max.
They clink their mugs together.
So who's looking for you, Max?
Who's... What do you mean?
Wherever we are. Probably pretty far from where we're supposed to be. Little woman must be worried.
No, there's no... I'm not married.
Then your parents must be shitting themselves.
Yeah. I actually don't really have much of a family.
Huh?
Ben chooses coffee. Max realizes how weird he sounds, quickly.
What about you?
Yeah. Big family. Wife, kids, grandkids, older sister, younger sister, nieces and nephews, some pets, a lot of friends. But they're all worried sick.
A long silence between them. Max is ready for the bomb to go off.
But hey, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure... Yeah.
Max searches for a subject change.
You know...
Shut up.
Okay.
Ben stands, attentive.
You hear that?
Max stands. In the distance, a phone rings. They take off, running side by side through the field. The ringing gets louder and louder. They're close. Finally, they skid to a stop, each with their head on a swivel. They're right on top of the ringing, but where is it?
There!
Max moves toward the ringing. Ben yanks him back, takes charge, snatches the ringing smartphone off the ground.
I found it.
Max stands, dusts himself off.
You know, I think I found...
Shut up.
Ben puts his hand in Max's face, answers the call.
Hello? Yes? Yes, he's here too.
Can I...
Max reaches for the phone. Ben smacks his hand away.
Hey! Sorry about that. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure.
Ben looks at the phone, confused, to Max.
How do I put this on speaker?
Here.
Max reaches again, pulls the phone away. Tell me.
The button on the right.
Ben presses a button.
Hello?
No response.
Upper right.
Ben glares at Max, presses another button.
Are you there?
The voice coming through is mid-30s, not at all ominous or threatening in tone, shockingly casual and matter-of-fact, imbued with a carefree sense of indifference. Morning, fellas, how are we? Ben and Max are taken aback. They look to the time bomb, then to each other.
Good. How are you?
Great, great. You know, had some coffee, did some yoga. You guys yoga?
No.
Oh, it's the best. I've been doing it for months, and I pretty much feel the same. But anyways, what's going on over there? Another look to each other. Is this happening?
Nothing.
I found the coffee and the phone.
Nice, nice. That's hey, all right. What do you think of the bomb? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? That thing. Oh, what do they think of next?
Well, now that you mention it,
What do you want us to do?
Right, right. Good question. Definitely want to, get things rolling. Anyways, look, I'll be real. What do you got left on that thing?
12 hours.
That's it? Oh, you guys are fucked. I, I mean, hey, it's fine. I get it. 12 hours. I guess that's a day. Anyways, look, the key to that bomb is at the top of a, hill, mountain. You'll see it when you get there. If you get there. The voice yawns while explaining. Listen, if you get the key before 12 hours is up, you can, unlock the bomb. If not, then, well...
it explodes.
What? No, that bomb doesn't explode.
Oh.
Yeah, it shocks you. Like electric. Yeah, it makes your freaking heart explode. Yeah, it's pretty painful from what I hear. A long, dreadful silence as Ben and Max absorb the news. But hey, good luck, guys. Get to that mountain. It's pretty far, kind of high. You probably won't make it, but give it a shot. All right.
Okay.
Oh, and before I forget, that phone doesn't call out, but I'll check in when I can. Cool?
Cool.
Great.
Cool.
Great. Awesome. Go team. The call ends. Another uncomfortable silence until...
I feel like he thinks that was more helpful than it was.
Beep. The countdown resumes. 11 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds.
All right, let's go.
What?
We have to get the key.
You're going along with this?
The guy told us what we have to do.
The guy? The guy who abducted us and left us who knows where with a bomb on our wrists? You trust that guy?
What else are we supposed to do?
Literally anything else? We don't even really know if that phone doesn't dial out.
He said it doesn't.
Again, I hear you, but maybe we should see for ourselves?
Huh?
Ben looks over the phone. Max waits. Well?
Now I get it.
Thank you.
Now I get why you couldn't become an engineer.
What?
You can't get out of your own way, man. I see it clear as day. And I've only known you for an hour.
And what an hour it's been. Now, can we please just try to use the phone to call for help?
You just don't get it, do you?
Get what?
The difference between us.
In my defense, I'm a little more preoccupied with the other thing between us.
Max points at the time bomb. Ben is unrelenting.
Somebody tells me to dig a hole. I don't try to reinvent the shovel. I dig the damn hole.
Ben pauses for effect.
What?
Proving my point for me.
Okay, if I could please just see the phone.
Max reaches for the phone. Ben clutches his collar, hurls Max to the ground, mounts him, sticks a finger in his face.
Hey, I've got a family.
Well, maybe we should give them a call.
Motherfucker.
Ben grips Max's jaw, forcing him eye to eye.
I am getting that key. You can either get on the train or get run over by it.
Ben stares daggers at Max, tightens his grip until...
Okay.
Ben holds his grip another second, just because he can. Then releases. Ben stands, pulls Max to his feet, raises his hand. Max cowers only to have Ben pat him on the chest.
Don't worry. We're in this together.
Ben pockets the phone.
Let's go.
Ben moves forward. Max has no choice but to follow. Exterior field, westbound, later. Ben and Max make their way up a small hill, both breaking a sweat, the hot sun taunting them. Max pauses to wipe his brow.
Move!
Ben pulls Max forward.
Sorry, it's really hot.
I spent the last 30 years inside a cubicle, no bigger than a closet, no windows. I'd sell my soul for a little fresh air.
Ben takes a deep breath, exhales loudly. They walk a few paces before Max can ask.
Sales.
Sorry.
I work in sales.
Ben clearly takes great pride in this.
Nice.
Nice? You ever sell anything?
Retail.
Retail? Any dipshit can work in retail.
Thank you.
To be a salesman? No, that's a calling. To talk to a total stranger, get to know them, how they think, how they feel, who they are. To absorb their perspective of the world, what they believe and carry and hold sacred every day of their lives. The very thing that gets them out of bed in the morning after morning. And then with nothing but your words, take their perspective and mold it into your own. You start small, a little question here and there, just feel them out. And before they realize it, they're on their heels, second guessing their perspective, thinking of things in an entirely different way, your way. Special mind to do that. But if you got it, you can do anything. Men like me shape the very fabric of the world. We run everything. And without us, it would all come crumbling down.
Ben stops to bask in the glow of his self-importance.
What do you sell?
Suction cups.
A long silence. Max tries to think of the last time he's ever seen a suction cup. Then,
But what do you do that's so damn special, huh? Retail?
Well, that was high school and college. No, I do other things, here and there.
Like what?
I teach. Well, tutor. Freelance, sometimes subbing, math, science, English. Do a little driving.
Like a chauffeur?
Yeah, like a Uber chauffeur. And a little serving, busing, dog walking on weekends. A little bit of everything.
Sounds like a whole bunch of nothing.
Right.
You ever think of just having one job? Like a career.
Well, that'd be great.
So why don't you?
Well, it's tough.
Tough.
Ben scoffs yet again, shaking his head, amused at the idea.
So how the hell do you pay the mortgage, walking dogs and waiting tables?
Well, I rent.
An apartment?
Yeah, studio.
Let me get this straight.
Ben stops, looks to Max.
You got no job, no house, no family, no wife, no kids. Did I get all that?
I mean, I don't have any of that yet.
How old are you?
29.
You're 30.
29.
Oh, it's fucking over, kid.
29.
A ship has sailed.
20. It's...
By the time I was 30, I had my whole life figured out. Career, wife, 2 kids, paying the mortgage, climbing the ladder.
I'm very happy for you, but I can still...
When are you going to start living your life, kid?
And Ben's words echo. Max avoids eye contact.
Hopefully...
Hopefully.
As soon as we're out of this situation.
Shut up.
Ben puts his hand in Max's face. He hears something. Now Max hears it.
This way.
Ben charges forward. Max keeps pace. They run down the hill into a forest. Exterior forest moments later. Ben has the lead, moving wildly without regard. Max follows behind but can't see where he's going. Takes a few branches to the face but keeps his feet under him. Suddenly, Ben jerks north. Max almost topples, barely hanging on.
Over here.
Ben haphazardly pushes through the brush while Max does his best to tiptoe around the fallen logs until...
This way.
Ben shifts east. Max grimaces as he's forced along for the ride.
I think we're going the wrong...
I'm trying to listen.
It's getting quieter. We're going the wrong...
God damn it.
Ben pivots back west. Max just misses smashing into a tree. Ben sprints forward, head down like a bull. Max sees what's ahead.
Wait!
Ben skids to a stop, but the momentum carries Max over the edge. They tumble over one another down an embankment, landing with a loud splash into a narrow river. Max pops from the surface, gasping for air. He looks over the river, surging through the forest like a lifeblood of the world. As he wipes his eyes, Ben yanks Max out of the water and across to the other side. They fall down to the ground, both exhausted, both soaking.
Still too hot?
Max looks up to Ben, shakes his head. He dips his feet back into the water. A relaxed sigh, and then the phone rings. Ben digs it out of his pocket. Answers.
Hello?
Hey guys, checking in. How's progress? Making any?
Well,
I found a river.
Fantastic. What do you think?
It's great. It looks very refreshing.
Oh, she's a beauty. I mean, who doesn't like a nice relaxing dip on a hot day? Hey, so the reason I called, I need a favor. Ben and Max look at each other.
Okay.
I need you to dam the river.
Dam the river?
Yep, dam it right up.
why?
I'll explain that later, but if you could dam that river, it would really help me out. What do you say? Max shakes his head empathetically. No. Points to the time bomb. Ben nods.
Here's the thing. We're happy to help you.
Max double takes. What? Look, outstanding. Just, let me know how it goes. Oh, and before I forget, you see the timer on the
Bomb?
Yeah, bomb. Until you guys finish with that whole river thing, that timer's going to tick a lot faster. Beep. 11 minutes, 12 seconds. 11 hours, 12 minutes, 36 seconds. The timer doubles its pace.
What? Why?
It's called motivation, my man. I am here to help. Anyways, I'll let you guys get to it. Talk to you soon.
But...
The call ends. Ben and Max jolt to their feet, heads on a swivel, looking for something to use to dam the river.
What can we use?
I'm thinking,
Has to be something.
let me think.
Max spots something at the top of the embankment, a pile of large rocks.
Rocks!
Max takes off, only to end up on his ass. He groans, looking up at Ben.
We should use those rocks.
Good idea.
Ben pulls Max to his feet. They climb up the embankment into the rock pile. They each try to lift a rock, but they're too heavy and awkward. Too much for the other to carry on his own. Max realizes this while Ben grunts loudly, unable to get a rock off the pile. Max helps Ben lift his rock. Together they carry it to the edge of the embankment and heave it down to the river.
Come on.
They repeat this again and again. Lift, heave, but they're getting tired and it's taking too long. Max checks the time bomb. 10 hours, 21 minutes, 19 seconds. They've lost nearly a full hour. They quicken their pace, using every ounce of energy and muscle to lift and heave. Finally, they shove the last few rocks down the embankment, then slide down side by side, landing hard at the edge of the river. Ben and Max scramble to the rocks. Ben grabs one, but falls to a knee. He's exhausted.
Here.
Max offers his hand. Ben slaps it away.
I'm fine.
Ben soldiers on. Max helps him lift a large rock. Together they throw it into the river, both grunting, both running out of steam.
Come on. Come on.
One by one they throw the rocks into the river, but the water rages on. Almost through half the pile, no sign of the water slowing down. Ben fights on, looks as if he's about to collapse. Max checks the time. 9 hours, 1 minute, 42 seconds.
Wait.
Max scans the embankment, desperately looking for an alternative. Ben clutches Max's collar.
Get your ass moving.
It's not working. We're wasting time.
Ben tries to move a rock, but falls over. Max's eyes move from the pile to the river. Then up the embankment to a massive tree, slanted and hanging over the river. Its base is rotting. Max's eyes light up.
I've got an idea.
Max heads for the tree, only to be yanked to the ground by Ben. They lay eye to eye, both in agony.
What are you doing?
We have to finish the rocks.
It's not working. We're killing ourselves.
Max gets back to his feet. Ben stays down on his knees.
Please, just give me a chance.
Max grips his cuff, drags Ben forward. Ben digs his knees into the ground, pulls Max back. Back and forth, back and forth. They fight against each other in a futile tug of war until Ben pulls Max into him. They collide, their height difference driving Max's head into Ben's chin. Their bodies go limp, they fall to the dirt, arms out like snow angels. Ben and Max lay side by side, unconscious. Between them, the time bomb is still ticking. Fade to black. Fade in. Max's eyes slowly open. He rubs the top of his head next to him. Ben is still out cold. Max looks to the bomb. 6 hours, 4 minutes, 29 seconds.
Oh, fuck. Fuck. Fuck.
Max straddles Ben, gently shaking him.
You gotta wake up. Come on. Come on, you gotta wake up, please.
Nothing. Max peels Ben's eyelids open, only for them to close again.
Shit.
Max stands. No idea what to do. He looks to the tree, his only hope so far away. Max drags Ben up the embankment, pulling him like a human anchor. Halfway up the embankment.
If you could just help a little.
But Ben is dead weight.
It's okay. I got it.
Step by step, Max inches his way up until finally, Max reaches the top of the embankment, still about 10 feet from the tree. He falls to his knees, totally spent, looks to Ben.
Okay. Okay, you're rested. You can wake up now. Right? Right?
Ben lets out a moan that sounds like a dying cow.
Okay, no problem.
Max fights his way back on his feet. He drags Ben the 10 grueling feet to the tree, reaches for it, but can only brush the bark with his fingertips. He looks back to Ben. Another moan, followed by a gurgle. Max stretches his body, caught between lifeless Ben and the tree. No use. He wraps his arm around Ben, using every ounce of energy he has to lift the large man up, only to have Ben slip through his arms and land with a thud on the ground.
Shit. Sorry.
Another gurgle. Max regroups. The time bomb keeps ticking. 5 hours, 51 minutes, 56 seconds. Max bear hugs Ben, somehow gets him on his feet long enough to prop him against the tree.
Okay. You gotta help me now. You gotta help me now. We gotta push this thing over the edge. We can do this, right?
Drool falls from Ben's gaping mouth.
Okay. Here we go.
Max pushes Ben into the tree. It doesn't budge. He kicks at the rotting base. It doesn't budge. He takes a few steps back to get a running start, thrusts himself into the tree. It doesn't budge.
Fuck! Okay.
Max looks around for something heavy, but the only thing he has is Ben. Max pulls Ben off the tree and lets him fall back onto it, again and again. Lift, drop, until the tree shakes. Max's eyes light up.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Max continues, rocking Ben back and forth, off and on and off the tree. The rotting base starts to dislodge. Faster and faster, Max shoves Ben against the tree. It's working. It's working. Another powerful thrust, and the tree dislodges, plummeting over the edge, taking Max and Ben with it.
Fuck!
Max, Ben, and the tree crash into the river. Their bodies disappear below the surface. Water rushes up the embankment, eventually settles. For a moment, all is calm. Then, Max breaks through the surface of the water, gasping for air. He desperately claws his way to the shore, pulling Ben's still lifeless body with him. With his last morsel of energy, Max collapses on the shore, saving himself and Ben from the watery grave. Max lays face down in the mud, eyes bulging in terror, sucking in as much air as he can. And after a few moments, Max sits up, looks at the river, the tree. It worked. The tree is blocking the water. Then, beep, the time bomb returns to its normal pace. 5 hours, 39 minutes, 4 seconds. Max breathes a sigh of relief. Next to him, Ben wakes, sits up, and sees the river, the tree, the time bomb, with his own sigh of relief.
I did it.
Max turns to Ben, but has no words. Falling on his back, desperately needs to rest, only to have Ben yank him to his feet.
Come on. We need to keep moving.
Ben stands tall, shaking out the cobwebs. Max slumps over, ready to pass out.
Please. I just need a second, too.
Hey,
Ben puts his finger in Max's face.
I don't tolerate dead weight.
Ben moves forward, pulling Max with him. Max looks back to the tree to keep the raging water at bay. He looks ahead. The remaining water flows away, revealing a riverbed covered in fish and other aquatic life, suffocating and dying before his eyes. Max gasps as he watches an entire ecosystem choke to death. Ben doesn't notice. He keeps marching down the empty river. Dissolve to travel montage. Exterior forest downriver later. Ben casually strolls downriver, oblivious to his surroundings, swatting gnats from his neck. Behind him, Max can't take his eyes off all the dead and dying fish in the riverbed. The further he walks, the larger the corpses become across the river. A deer approaches, looking for a drink of water and finding the empty bed. The deer looks up, sees Max. Max waves. The deer falls over and dies. Max gawks. Ben yanks him forward. Exterior forest downriver later. Max and Ben continue through the forest as they travel the vibrant, healthy green foliage. It becomes brown, brittle, dying weeds. They push through a particularly thick patch of brown brush, finally emerging through the dense forest and into a barren wasteland. Gray, cracked stones, with scattered patches of dead grass and weeds. There's nothing on the horizon as far as the eye can see. Overhead, the bright sun disappears behind dark clouds. Max gawks in horror. Ben doesn't notice, moving forward into the vast emptiness. Dissolve 2. Barren wasteland later. Max and Ben trudge forward as they go. Max notices a few pieces of garbage among the rocks. The further they move across the wasteland, the more and more the litter covers the ground. Soda cans, wrappers, tissues, banana peels. Max does his best to avoid the mess while Ben crunches cans and broken glass with each step. As Max tries to dodge the trash, a bald eagle dive bombs from the sky, landing dead at Max's feet. Again, Ben doesn't notice. Max's face is covered in terror. Dissolve 2. Exterior barren wasteland later. Max and Ben stand with their backs to one another, the time bomb ticking between them, both trying to pee. Ben exhales as a steady stream flows. On the other side, Max can't go. Stage fright. Keeps checking back to make sure he's not being watched. Just as he finally feels comfortable, Ben zips up and moves on. Max struggles to rebutton his pants as Ben pulls him further into the wasteland. Dissolve 2. Exterior barren wasteland. Ben keeps his eyes forward as he walks on. Behind him, Max pees into an empty water bottle he found among the rocks. No time to stop again. Must keep moving. Barren wasteland later. Further and further into the wasteland, Max and Ben are noticeably exhausted, their lips dry and cracked, their eyes sunken in, surrounded by trash. And the bones of dead animals. Vultures pick at them, at the carcasses. They turn their beaks to Max and Ben as they pass. A vulture hisses at Max. He quickens his pace. Exterior barren wasteland later. The clouds have left. The bright sun once again beams down on Max and Ben. They stumble along slowly, dizzy, dehydrated, hunched over, their heads hanging. Behind them, a long line of vultures follow, waiting for their next meal. A few more steps, and then Ben collapses face down onto the rocks. Max trips over him and lands on his back. They both groan.
You still have that bottle?
No.
Max tries to stand.
I have to keep.
But crumbles to the ground.
We're going to die.
The vultures perk up, cocking their heads like excited dogs.
Water.
Ben chokes on his dry and empty throat. He and Max lay on the ground, both staring up at the punishing sun. Their eyes flutter, about to pass out. The phone rings. But Ben is too weak to answer. Max peels his head off the rocks.
Are you going to get that?
Ben can only utter a death rattle. Max fights his way off the ground, digs the phone out of Ben's front pocket, about to answer. Ben finds the strength to stop Max, ripping the phone from his hand.
Oh?
Fellas! Look, I'm calling for a status update. What is going on? Ben and Max look to each other.
Everything is fine.
Max's eyes bulge. Are you insane? He crawls over to Ben and gets closer to the phone.
We're dying.
What? What? Speak up.
We're dying.
Dying? Well, hey, that's no good. That's not supposed to happen until it. Hey, anyway, look, anything I can do to help.
Water.
Yeah, water. Why didn't you just say something? Look, I got a guy. He'll be right there. I just got to give him a call. Stay on the line, cool?
Cool.
Hold music plays. Ben and Max lay on the ground, across each other. Ben and Max lay across on each other on the hot stones, each second a little closer to death. They look to the vultures. The vultures hiss. Finally, yo! You guys still there?
Still here.
Great. Listen, my guy should be there any minute. I'll hang out and, you guys let me know when he shows up. Cool?
Cool.
Max lifts his head, scans the wasteland. Nobody in sight. He looks behind him. A bridge troll has appeared, straight out of a fairy tale or maybe a nightmare. His skin is green, covered in warts. He wears rags for clothes in his arms. In his arms, an old wooden bucket full of water and a ladle. That's my guy. How's it going, Chad? The bridge troll speaks in an uncomfortably cheerful human voice.
Hello there.
The bridge troll slowly waddles over to Ben and Max. He scoops a ladle full of water out of the bucket and pours it on their faces. Ben and Max desperately lap up the water.
Thank you.
That's right. Drink up, fellas. The bridge troll scoops another ladleful, holds it over their faces, but doesn't pour.
Come on.
Everything hunky-dory over there?
He's not pouring. We need more.
Right. Look, here's the thinking, muchachos. You guys have asked for some water. I gave you some.
We need more. Please.
And I'm happy to give it to you. But what are you two going to do for me? The question hangs.
What do you want?
Well, you give something, you should get something. Yeah, am I right? What are you guys going to give me?
We
don't have anything. We don't have anything to give you.
There's a long pause. You got time? Ben and Max look to one another, unsure, uneasy.
What do you mean?
How much time is left on the
Bomb?
Bomb. Why is that so hard? Whew. Max looks at the time bomb. 4 hours, 4 minutes, 37 seconds.
About 4 hours.
Oh, fuck. I mean, don't worry. Plenty of time. So how much are you willing to give me?
How much do you want?
Make me an offer.
Hang on.
Ben muffles the phone against his chest, looks to Max.
What do you think?
We can't. We don't even know how much further we have to go. We need every second.
Ben considers.
Right.
Ben raises the phone.
We'll give you 10 minutes.
What?
Ben holds the phone against his chest.
I'm negotiating. How's that sound?
10? Huh.
10 is good.
No response. After a few minutes...
All right, 15.
What are you doing?
Ben muffles the phone.
I am negotiating, goddammit.
Against who? He didn't even turn down the first offer.
Hey, we need water. I'm not going to make it any further without it. Are you?
Okay, fine, but please, 15 is the max.
That's what I thought. So do we have a deal?
30.
20.
No!
Ben turns away. Max looks up. The bridge troll shrugs. 29?
22.
28.
24.
Why are you jumping so many numbers?
Shut up. 26.
You skipped his turn.
27.
Deal.
Fuck.
Deal. 27. Max and Ben look up to the bridge troll, waiting for him to pour the water as he lowers the ladle. Unless
what?
Well, there's one bucket and two of you.
Right.
So, you got to share.
Right.
Well, maybe one of you wants all the water. I mean, maybe one of you is willing to, I don't know, give up a little more time.
What do you mean?
Look, that timer thing, it's pretty cool. I can basically do whatever I want with it. Like, if I want to bring it down to 5 seconds. The time bomb suddenly ticks down to 0 hours, 0 minutes, 5 seconds.
No.
Take it easy. I'm just fucking with you. Boom. Oh, man. The time bomb returns to 4 hours, 1 minute, 58 seconds. But seriously, tick-tock. Am I right? I mean, anyways, look, I can split the time for both of you. Like this. The time bomb screen splits into 2 separate clocks, each with 4 hours, 1 minute, and 35 seconds and counting. It's pretty cool, right? Anyways, say one of you wanted to have all the water in the bucket for themselves. Well, make me an offer. Ben looks to the phone, looks to Max.
No, he just wants to divide us, get us fighting against each other. We have to stick together.
Right.
Ben nods, raises the phone.
I'll give you 30 minutes of my time.
What?
30. Interesting. Other guy, what about you?
No, I'm not doing this.
Oh, wow. Are you sure about that? I mean, look, you got a long way to go. Long way. A lot of walking left. I feel like I need water to, live. But hey, I mean, maybe you don't. Good for you. Good for you. All righty, going once. Max looks to the empty horizon. Going twice. Then to the waiting vultures. Going 3 times. And then finally to the glistening bucket of fresh, delicious water. And
31.
Oh,
31.
Hey, now we're talking. 31. All right, to you, other guy.
35 minutes.
Now we're cooking. Other guy.
36 minutes.
40.
Again, why are you skipping so many numbers?
Other guy, in or out?
41.
50.
Holy shit, how are you not getting 51?
60.
Whoa, big spender. Do I hear 61? Max considers. Can he afford it? 61. Whole bucket of water with your name on it.
Fine, yes, 61.
70.
God damn it!
Do I hear 71? Going once. Max's mind races. What do I do? Going twice. Max's head is on a swivel. The horizon, the vultures, the water. 3 times. Finally.
No, I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
Fair enough. 1 bucket of water, 70 minutes. Ben smiles victoriously. Then, each.
What?
You guys share the bucket for 70 minutes. Max and Ben look to each other, confused.
You just said we were split. Those are the rules.
Yeah, well, I changed the rules.
When?
Just now. But hey, good talking. You guys enjoy the water, and hey, keep it up. The call ends. Beep. The screen returns to the 1 countdown. 70 minutes deducted. 2 hours, 50 minutes, 19 seconds. The bridge troll drops the bucket. It tips over and spills across the rocks.
No.
Max scrambles to the bucket. He laps the water off the rocks, grimaces, spits. The bridge troll walks off.
Wait, you can't just...
Max looks to Ben.
We gave up so much. For nothing.
Ben grabs the water bucket.
You know what your problem is? You expect too much.
Ben takes a large gulp of water, then shoves the bucket into Max's chest.
Be grateful for what you have.
Max looks into the bucket, empty. He holds it over his head. Max doesn't even get a drop. Ben yanks him forward. The empty bucket falls to the ground. Exterior barren wasteland later. Max and Ben amble along, dead silence between them, a field of patchy weeds ahead. Max is clearly distraught, replaying the events of the day again and again in his mind. Next to him, Ben can sense the tension.
Where are you from anyway?
No response. Max doesn't even look at Ben. They walk on. Ben points to himself.
Middle of the country. Nice little neighborhood. Good people.
Again, no response. Max keeps his head down, avoids eye contact.
What's your more of a coast? Sorry.
Ben refuses to take the hint.
That you're more of a coaster. East? Nah, west.
Max refuses to acknowledge the question.
I visited both. Not for me.
A few more steps, still caked in palpable tension. Then
What the fuck is your problem anyway?
Ben grinds to a stop.
My problem?
I get it, man. This is a bad situation. But we can at least talk to each other to pass the time.
The time? The time? You mean the time you just gave away when you backstabbed me?
Oh, come on. Open your eyes. I was negotiating to help both of us.
How is negotiating against each other supposed to help both of us?
Because I
Max waits. Ben is at a loss for words.
knew he was just screwing with us. I knew he was going to change the rules. I'd been around. I've got experience. And this whole time I've been trying to share it with you.
Ben gets uncomfortably close to Max.
That's why I was negotiating. To help you.
Ben pauses for effect, a concerned, almost fatherly look in his eyes.
Oh my God.
You finally understand.
Yeah.
Ben nods, thinking he's won. Then,
You think I'm a fucking idiot? Oh my God.
No, I don't. I like you.
You like me?
We're a team.
That's why you push me around?
now Max steps closer. Ben wasn't expecting this, on his heels for the first time.
Easy.
That's why you backstab me?
Max takes another step.
Hey,
That's why you lie to my face?
Nose to nose.
kid.
That's why you never listen to a single thing I have to say?
I've been listening to you for the better half of my life.
Ben shouts back, more wounded than he's ever sounded.
What?
Ben collects himself.
My whole career busted my ass. Show up early, stay late, skip lunch, no breaks, no excuses, over and over, again and again to get my shot. And every time something opened up, something better, who gets it? You. There's always been a you. Some young, fresh out of college hotshot, ready to shake things up, reinvent the wheel, innovate, streamline, lay off. Everything I earned, you got it. And then you stand there and you smile. And you expect me to sit at my desk like an obedient little nothing and take it.
Ben shoves Max.
Hey,
Shoves again.
Take it.
stop.
Again.
Take it.
Cut it out.
Max backs up, creating as much space between them as possible.
You want it all? Here it is.
Ben picks up a rock.
My job.
Ben hurls the rock. It bounces off Max's ribs.
Ah,
My promotion.
Ben throws another rock, clips Max's shoulder.
quit.
My family.
Ben throws another that just misses Max's face.
Whoa.
Max trips over his own feet. Ben grabs another rock, towering over Max.
Take it all.
Ben raises the rock, throws it 50 feet into the patchy field ahead. Boom! The rock explodes on impact with the ground. Max turns to the explosion. What the hell? Max gets back on his feet and picks up another rock, throws it forward and to the right. Boom! Another explosion on impact. Max picks up the rock, throws it far left of the first two. Boom! Dirt and debris scatter across the field. Ben and Max realize.
It's a minefield.
You sure?
A few 100 feet north, a different pair of guys, also attached to a time bomb, run forward into the field. They notice Ben and Max, pause, and wave. Max and Ben wave back. The pair of guys head their way. Boom! Blown to bits. Body chunks fly through the field. Max and Ben gawk.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They scan the horizon. Each step could be a bomb waiting to explode.
We'll find a way around it.
Yeah.
Ben and Max step north. Beep. The time bomb countdown quickens. They freeze, look to each other, step back. The pace normalizes. They take a step south. Beep. The countdown quickens. They step back. The pace normalizes. 2 hours, 20 minutes, 11 seconds.
No choice.
Max and Ben look to the vast minefield, then to the time bomb. Tick, tick, tick. Then to each other. Max has an idea, kneels down, and stuffs as many rocks as he can fit into his pockets. Ben catches on and does the same. Once their pockets are full, they each take a deep breath. Max runs his fingers along the rock in his hand and then skips it against the ground as far as he can. The rock settles. No explosion. Max and Ben look to one another. Max takes the first step. Ben follows behind. In a single file line, they follow the path of the rock, as if walking on a tightrope. Intense focus with every step. Max arrives at the rock and picks it up. Skips forward again. 3 bounces. Boom! The ground explodes. Max and Ben duck for cover as the dirt rains down on them. Once the dust settles, Ben digs a rock from his pocket. He skips it diagonally to the right. 2 bounces. Boom! They duck again, still low to the ground. Max skips a rock diagonally left. No explosion. Max and Ben slowly rise. They slink along the safe path to the rock, almost to the rock. Max trips over a root, falls off the path, an inch from the ground. Ben catches Max, pulling him back to the path. Max regains his footing. Ben lets go, nods. Max considers, pats Ben on the chest, and for a brief moment they're a team. Max picks up the rock and skips it forward. No explosion. They sidestep their way to the rock. Max skips it again. Boom! The ground erupts. No path. Ben skips a rock diagonally to their right. No explosion. They scurry to the rock, Ben taking lead. He picks up the right. Skips it further. He picks up the rock, skips it further right. No explosion. They move on to the rock. Ben flings it further right. No explosion. They sprint to the rock. Ben picks it up.
3 in a row. This is it. This is the path, baby.
Beep. The sound draws their attention to the time bomb. The countdown quickens.
God damn it.
Ben skips the rock further right. Boom. Max skips the rock to the left. Boom. They look to each other, then skip a rock straight ahead. No explosion.
Come on. Move.
Ben and Max move as quickly and carefully as they can, working in tandem with one another. Reach the rock, throw in every direction, duck the explosions, chase the last rock standing. Again and again, time after time, faster and faster, Max and Ben snake their way through the minefield, racing against the ticking between them. Throw, chase, recover. Throw, boom, duck, throw, chase, recover. Throw, boom, throw, chase, recover. Throw, chase, recover. Throw, boom, throw. Boom on the first skip. A landmine erupts in their faces, flinging them to the ground. Max tries to find his bearings, disoriented. The world is spinning, high-pitched, ringing in his ears. He wipes the dirt from his eyes. He sees something off in the distance, tangled in a thick patch of weeds. A rotting hand. Max shakes his head, widens his eyes, can't believe what he's seeing. Mouth hanging open, but before he can speak,
Come on.
Ben yanks Max to his feet.
We're almost there.
Max and Ben stumble forward, 30 feet from the end of the field, both physically and mentally drained. Ben skips a rock forward, barely enough energy to get it 10 feet. No explosion. They collect the rock. Ben raises his hand, too tired. Max takes it, skips it. No explosions. They collect again, another 10 feet. Max picks up the rock. 10 feet from the edge of the field. He looks at the time bomb. 1 hour, 48 minutes, 6 seconds. Ben nods.
Do it.
Max takes a deep breath. Skips the rock forward to the very edge of the field. No explosion. They wait. Still nothing. Like punch-drunk fighters, they chuckle. Slowly they collect the rock, walking to the edge of the field, still chuckling, then laughing. It becomes boisterous. Max and Ben laugh loudly as they step off the field. Beat, the pace of the bomb normalizes. They hoot and woo in celebration.
Yes!
They've made it, still alive. Ben takes the last rock from Mac and flings it back into the field with joy. As he throws, Ben's foot touches the edge of the field. Boom! The explosion hurls Ben and Max 10 feet from the field. They land with a thud along the stone-covered ground, both out cold, fade to black. Dead silence for a few seconds until scream. Gut screaming. Cut 2. Max on his back. His eyes pop open. He sits up. Ben screams.
Oh!
His right foot has been blown to shreds. Ben clutches his shin. Blood pours. Max scrambles to help. With his free hand, he desperately claws at Ben's belt as he pulls it from the loops. The screams are getting worse.
It's okay. It's okay.
Max carefully turns Ben on his side to free the belt. He wraps it around Ben's shin and pulls it tight. A gruesome yelp. Ben's entire body shakes. Max falls on Ben, embracing him.
It's okay. I've got you. I've got you.
Max holds Ben close, looks to the wound. The bleeding stops. Slowly, Ben's shaking subsides. They lay in the field, alone in the world. Exterior wasteland later. ECU on the time bomb. 1 hour, 13 minutes, 58 seconds and counting. Cut 2. Max supports Ben like a crutch as they slowly plod forward. A dense fog up ahead. Ben hops on his good foot, wincing with each step. Max's eyes are vacant. He is soaked in sweat. Ben is pale, hanging on by a thread. He starts to slip, but Max readjusts and takes more of his weight, straining to carry the load. A few more steps. Ben collapses, taking Max with him to the ground.
We have to keep going.
I can't.
We have to.
Ben groans. Max gets back on his feet and grips his cuff. Pulls with everything he has, but can't move Ben an inch. Ben is dead weight. Pulls again. Nothing. He falls to his knees, desperate, losing his mind. This can't be it. This can't be the end. Max stands, his final stand. He grips the cuff, pulls, straining his body, gritting his teeth. Max releases his grip, turning away from the cuff, putting all of his weight into his legs, digging into the dirt. Tearing his shoulder nearly out of the socket, Max screams, a primal cry of defiance. Pulls. One huge step, and somehow Max's cuff breaks free from the time bomb. The momentum hurls Max to the ground. Ben sits up, realizes what has just happened. Max looks at his cuff, and he was right. It's a magnet. Max stands and looks at Ben, still connected to the time bomb. Ben sees the look in Max's eyes.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
Ben clutches the weeds around him, pulls himself forward.
Stay back.
Max moves the cuff behind his back, keeping it as far from the bomb as possible.
I can't let you. I'm sorry.
I have a family. I have a family.
I know.
Max looks around, hoping some kind of answer will appear.
It's a magnet. Maybe I can find something to...
Max starts to walk away.
Don't leave me. Please. Please don't leave me.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
Please.
Maybe I can get to the key and bring it back.
There's no time. You can't leave me. Please.
Ben groans in agony, clutching his obliterated foot, crying like a wounded animal.
I'll come back.
Max is on the verge of tears, free but lost.
I'm begging you. I have a family. They need me. I'm sorry for how I treated you. I'm so sorry, but don't punish my family. Please. Please.
Max looks into the dense fog, then to Ben. He puts his hands on his head, overcome with guilt. Knows he won't be able to live with himself if he doesn't do something, as Ben sobs.
I'll help you.
Ben looks up to Max.
I'll get you to the key. We have to keep you away from my cuff. Okay?
Whatever you say. Yes. Yes.
Max carefully approaches Ben, keeping his cuff arm behind his back. He helps Ben off the ground.
Thank you. Thank you.
Max slings Ben's arm over his shoulder, resumes his position as a crutch.
Careful. Careful.
Thank you.
Max and
Thank you.
Max and Ben make it a few feet, each step harder than the last. Max keeps his eye forward, singularly focused on getting to the key. Next to him, Ben looks at the time bomb hanging only from his wrist, then to Max's cuff, then to Max's eyes, sensing his focus, gauging his attention, seeing his opportunity. Ben swings the time bomb into Max's face, clubbing him against the eyes. Max topples, stunned. Ben mounts him and reconnects his cuff to the time bomb, then pulls. Ben desperately tries to free his cuff from the time bomb using Max as dead weight, but he can't. He's too tired, too weak. He falls over and keeps pulling until Max regains his surroundings, sits up and sees Ben, sees the bomb, and sees his cuff.
No. No.
Max grips his cuff and pulls against Ben. Ben turns back, pulls against Max. Another tug of war. They rage against one another, desperately pulling and grunting like wild animals until finally they exhaust themselves. Ben collapses onto his back. Max falls to his knees, too tired to even cry, just looking at the bomb, at the ticking clock, at Ben.
How?
Ben turns away, avoiding eye contact. Max falls over and buries his face in the dirt. He sobs, he screams. The bomb keeps ticking. An hour, 2 minutes, 47 seconds. The phone rings. Ben slowly digs it out of his pocket and answers.
Hello?
Approaching 0 hour, boys. Are you at the mountain?
No.
No? Well, can you see it? Max turns at the question, furious.
No, we can't see any mountains.
Oh, huh. All right, give me a second. The fog clears, revealing a massive, steep mountain.
How did you do that?
What do you mean? I can do whatever I want. Duh. So, how about it, guys? You think you can get that key? Ben checks the time.
We can't make it to the top. Not in an hour.
The top? You couldn't do that if you had the rest of your lives. Huh. Which you don't. No. I just need you to make it to, well, you'll know when you get there. You know, comprende? Max wipes his eyes. No words. Oh, before I forget, did you two decide who gets the key?
What do you mean?
Well, which one of you gets to use the key?
What does it matter?
Well, damnedest thing. The key can only be turned one way. Could be whichever way you want, but you can only unlock one of you from the
Bomb.
Bomb. Thank you. So before you get there, or maybe on your way up, you should probably decide which one of you gets to turn the key and which one
dies.
Huh. When you put it that way, it sounds a little bleak. The idea sinks in between Ben and Max. Look, I'll let you guys figure it out. Talk soon. Later. The call ends. Max stares at the ground in disbelief. Ben sits up on his elbows, already thinking.
So?
Max looks to Ben.
Why should it be you?
Excuse me?
Why should you get to use the key? Give your reasons.
Give my...
Max shakes his head.
After what you just did, I don't really feel a need to explain why I deserve the key.
A long pause. Then...
You are so... fucking entitled.
Max whips his head around, irate.
Excuse me?
You just expect everything handed to you.
Oh my... Fine, you want my reasons? Well, off the top of my head, maybe because I wouldn't even be in this situation if it weren't for you. Maybe because if we somehow even reach the key, it will be because I dragged us there. Maybe because you're already bleeding to death. How about those for my reasons?
Okay.
Another long pause.
My turn.
Jesus Christ.
I have...
Don't you dare say it.
Max scowls, standing over Ben, pointing his finger.
a family.
You fucking
Max is overcome with anger, pacing as far as the bomb will allow.
Maybe you would too, if you weren't such a loser.
What did you say?
You heard me.
Ben fights to sit up.
You don't know a single thing about me.
Sure I do, Max. You already told me. No family, no house, no career. First 30 years of your life, poof, gone. What do you have to show for it?
I can still have all of those.
Yeah, right. I forgot. Everything's different now, right? You're a new man.
Ben laughs, shaking his head. Max looks away embarrassed.
If you needed something like this to finally wake your ass up, you don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say to you. But I don't feel sorry for you.
I know you don't.
Max looks down at the ground. Ben somehow manages to stand. He's off balance, but on his good foot.
I have people waiting for me. I have a life waiting for me. I don't want the key. I earned the key.
Max turns to Ben, seeing a renewed purpose in his eyes.
Now let's go get it.
They stare at each other, sizing each other up, and finally, they start their trek up the mountain, the time bomb ticking. 56 minutes, 51 seconds. In the distance, thunder roars. Exterior mountain base. Storm clouds roll in overhead, engulfing the imposing mountain in a dark blue night. Max and Ben slowly trudge uphill, each step agony, each more steep than the last. They both avoid eye contact, not even acknowledging when one slips or trips on a root. just plodding along, tense, focused, tunnel vision. Their humanity an afterthought. All that matters is climbing the mountain. Dissolve 2, exterior mountain ridge later. Max leads, head down, swatting at gnats buzzing in his face. Behind him, Ben slaps a mosquito on his neck, wipes the remains on his pants. They trudge up the dirt path, both taking deep breaths of thin air. Max pauses for a moment, dizzy, rocks back on his heels, but catches himself. He shakes it off and keeps going. Ben wipes sweat from his brow, a vacant look in his eye. Dissolve 2. Mountain range, higher, later. The higher altitude has taken effect. Max and Ben stumble forward like zombies. Ben hinges over and vomits all over himself. Max inhales the stench, vomits over the edge of the mountain. He looks down, but it's too dark to see the bottom. They're high enough where any fall would kill them. Ben yanks Max from the edge. They continue up. Cut 2, mountain, higher still, later. Max and Ben walk up a particularly steep patch. Their legs give out, each falling to their knees. They dig their hands into the dirt for leverage, pulling themselves forward as the thunder clatters, and then the wind picks up, howling at them, pushing them back. But they forge on, undeterred, heads down, feet grinding into the terrain. The sound of lightning as we cut to. Mountain slope, later. The storm has arrived. A torrential downpour blankets the mountain. Max and Ben fight on, soaking wet, freezing. The ground under their feet is quickly becoming mud. Ben slips. His weight pulls Max to the ground. They slide back down 10 feet until Max grips a root, halting their descent. He looks back to Ben and sneers. Ben plunges his hands into the mud, bear crawling his way back up. Max realizes this is their only option. Both men bear crawled through the mud, covered in filth, beaten by the rain. Overhead, lightning cuts through the black sky. Thunder screams at them. They persist. Onwards, upwards. Clinging to the mud, neither able to see what lies ahead. Max digs his knees into the mud, raises up, shielding his eyes from the storm, trying to see ahead. Lightning strikes and illuminates the mountain. For a brief second, Max sees a mountain range covered in human bones. Max gawks in horror. Lightning strikes, the bones disappear. Max's mouth remains hanging open. Has he lost his mind? Behind him, Ben crawls ahead and looks to Max, yells incoherently. Max yells back, also incoherent. They continue their crawl. Exterior mountain near shoulder, later. Max and Ben climb up over a jagged cliff, rolling onto their backs, resting on a small flat patch. Max looks up at the storm clouds. A cyclone of raindrops swirls above. He turns to the mountain, sees a steep slope leading to the shoulder. This has to be it, the final leg. Max checks the countdown. 11 minutes, 46 seconds. Max forces himself onto his knees. Next to him, Ben lays on his back, sucking in as much oxygen as he can. Max grabs Ben by his shirt and pulls him eye to eye. Max screams through the sounds of rain and thunder and points up to the slope. Ben follows Max's finger, realizes and nods. They both pull each other to their feet. This is it. Max and Ben crawl on their hands and knees up the muddy slope. As they reach the quarter mark, lightning strikes the mountain. Sparks fly, raining down the slope. Max and Ben duck and cover as the sparks burn their backs and arms. Max screams. Ben buries his face into the mud, ready to give up. Max regroups, slaps Ben on the arm, screams again, points to the mountain's shoulder. They continue their crawl. Max gets on his feet and stands, pulls Ben with him. They increase their pace, fighting through the dense rain until the wind picks up, blowing them back down the slope. As they tumble down head over heels, the bomb catches on something protruding from the dirt. Max and Ben jerk to a stop, dangling from the protrusion like a fish on a hook. Max reaches up, digging his fingers into the mudslide, clawing his way back up. Ben does the same. They climb up 10 feet until the mountain shakes. Up ahead, large sections of the shoulder break off. The fragments roll down the slope, straight for Max and Ben. The relentless barrage of rock fragments overtake them. A large chunk cracks Ben between the eyes. He's out cold. Ben goes limp, tipping over onto his back. His weight pulls Max with him. As they slide back down the mountain, Max clutches the protrusion. He hangs on, keeping his head down as he is pummeled by the rocks. Max lays face down in the mud, too frightened to move. Ben sways below him, blood trailing up down his nose. Max forces himself to look ahead. He gets his first clear glance at the protrusion. A branch? No. A femur. As Max gawks at the human bone in his hand, the rain washes away the top layer of mud, slowly revealing a human skull. Max screams, jerks away. The femur breaks in his hand. Max drives the broken femur into the mud like a stake, holding it with his only free hand. He looks down to Ben, still unconscious, and then to the countdown. 5 minutes, 58 seconds. Max yanks the femur from the mud, then drives it back in a foot higher, pulling himself and Ben inch by inch. Again and again, Max impales the mud, straining every muscle in his body to ascend. Max drives the femur into the mud, then wraps his elbow around it. He pulls his body up until finally he's back on his feet. Max turns his back to the rain and the rocks, grips his cuff and pulls with everything he has, dragging Ben up the mountain with him. Max swings his legs over the cuff so that he is facing forward, the bomb and Ben behind him, able to put all of his energy forward. Max lets out a primal scream as he rages against nature and the world itself, climbing up step by step, closer and closer and further until finally, exterior, mountain, shoulder, continue. Max collapses face first onto the flat, level terrain as he desperately takes in oxygen. The rain lets up, eventually stopping. The wind calms. The clouds lighten into an overcast sky. The storm passing, or is it just the eye? Max lifts his head from the mud just higher enough to see a large flat stone in the middle of the terrain, and a small key resting on top. The time bomb beeps. 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Max throws himself forward, digs his hand into the dirt, pulling himself and Ben closer to the stone. Max reaches the stone, his hand shaking uncontrollably, physically and mentally fried. But he has to keep going. Max reaches to the top of the flat stone, somehow pushing against it and getting on his feet. Max gazes down at the stone and the key. He picks it up, looks at it, and then looks past it. Max's heart catches. He forgets to breathe. Horror in his eyes as he sees rotting corpses lining the terrain. Dozens, all strewn about in horrible twisted poses piled on top of the other. Some more decomposed than others, but all of them sharing one thing in common. They are all young. Behind Max, Ben rises, a treacherous glare in his eyes. Max turns, sees Ben, and knows. Ben hurls himself at Max, tackling him to the ground. The key goes flying, clattering off the flat stone and onto the dirt. Ben chokes Max, slamming his body into the hard ground. Max's head bounces on impact. He winces in pain, catches a glance, and looks at the countdown. 2 minutes, 7 seconds. As Ben squeezes the life out of him, Ben kicks at Max's wounded foot. Ben yelps. Max squirms away, heads straight for the key, just out of reach. Max pulls at his cuff, but can't get Ben to budge. He keeps trying, gets maybe an inch, and reaches again. Max grabs the key, brings it to his cuff. Ben mounts Max, slamming his fist into his back, frantically trying to rip the key from his hand. Ben clutches Max's hair, torques back on his head. Max screams in agony. Ben keeps wrenching Max's neck, about to snap his spine. With his free arm, Max wildly thrusts the key back, stabbing Ben in his left eye. Ben screams, falls over onto his back. Max mounts Ben, grabs the key, about to pull. Ben slaps his hand over Max's.
Max, please. I have a family. I have a family.
Max stares into Ben's good eye.
What are their names?
Ben is taken aback. Even in his tremendous pain, he cracks a grin, chuckles, and laughs. The psychotic laugh of a man with no shame. Ben laughs maniacally, louder and louder, arching his back, until Max rips the key out of Ben's eyes. Ben shrieks, flops his arm and legs like a fish out of water. Max fits the key down into the hole on his cuff and checks the countdown. 48 seconds. Max turns the key. His cuff opens. He's free. Max stumbles back, falls over, breathes deeply. Max looks up at the sky as the sun peeks out from behind a cloud. Ben wraps his arms around Max, pulling him up, face to bloody face. Ben screams like a madman. The time bomb beeps. 22 seconds. Max tries to wriggle out of Ben's grip. Can't. Ben's still too strong. Max throws his head forward, smashing Ben's nose. Again, Max thrashes his forehead into Ben's nose. Ben wobbles, holding on tight. 14 seconds. Max screams, rams his head forward into Ben's nose. Ben falls back, lands hard on the flat stone, releases his grip. Max and Ben tumble over the stone. 8 seconds. Max hits the ground, face down, looks up. Ben is already on a knee, pushing off the stone, a large rock in his hand. Max watches in horror as Ben stands tall. He lifts the rock overhead. 1 second. Beep. An electric current runs through Ben's body. A sickening pop in his chest. Ben's eyes widen. His hand drops to his side, and the rock falls to the ground. Ben topples back, his body splayed across the flat stone. Dead. Max shuts his eyes, rests against the cold dirt. Overhead, clouds roll back in. A light rain falls. Max looks for shelter. None to be found. Next to him, a fairly large corpse missing a hand. Max reaches over, pulls the corpse on top of him, shielding himself from the rain. Just then, the phone rings. Max looks over and sighs. He pushes the corpse off and slowly makes his way over. Max scans Ben's corpse, cautiously reaching over, giving a gentle shake. Nothing. Max carefully reaches into Ben's pocket, finds the phone, and answers.
Hello?
Hey! Who's this?
Max.
Cool. How you doing?
Fine.
Nice. And, the other guy? Max takes a look at Ben's battered corpse.
He's gone.
Ah, tough break. So, you want the gig or what?
Excuse me?
The gig, the job. What's his name? Other guy. He won't need it anymore. So what do you say? Max considers.
Let's talk.
All right. So, it's pretty simple.
In person.
What?
That's how I negotiate.
A long silence. Then? Yeah, sure, why not? I'll send somebody. Hang tight. The call ends. Max looks at the phone, has a thought, presses a button. The phone dials and rings. Yeah.
The phone calls out.
Another long silence. Well, how about that? Max hangs up, too tired to be angry. Can only shake his head and laugh until a gust of wind from above. We hear what can only be a helicopter landing on the mountain. Max watches in disbelief as an Asian woman, 30s, dressed in business casual, approaches, an umbrella in her hand. The woman looks over Max. He's filthy head to toe, covered in mud, rain, blood, sweat, and tears. The woman gestures. Max walks into the helicopter and boards. Interior helicopter. Max straps in and the helicopter lifts off. Max stares forward, no need or desire to look at what he's leaving behind. The screen burns white as we cut to exterior island resort, day. A bright and colorful paradise overlooking a picturesque ocean. The Asian woman leads Max, still filthy, through a raucous bar of drunk assholes, dressed in bathing suits and Hawaiian shirts, all having the time of their lives, all too happy or busy to notice him. They reach a row of oceanside lounge chairs. The Asian woman gestures to the only empty chair. A thick paper document rests on his edge. Max takes a seat, his eyes still adjusting to the bright sun. The woman leaves, revealing the voice. Mid-30s, most pasty, paunchy, unimpressive, douchey little shit you've ever seen. Feet up in a lounge chair. Overly large black sunglasses and an open Hawaiian shirt that lets his gut hang over a bathing suit with a bottle opener attached. A big, icy, fruity cocktail in his hand. None of the others have ever asked for a one-on-one. Max absorbed the statement, feeling like the ultimate fish out of water.
Others?
You know, the others.
How many were there?
Whew, whole bunch. Whole bunch. Boy, you should see it with 2 women. Max furrows his brow. Doesn't understand. You know, 2 women, alone, middle of nowhere, high stakes scenario. Things get emotional. You'd think sooner or later they'd. But you know, nothing ever happens. But hey, someday, right? The voice peels off the sunglasses, reveals his beady eyes. My name is Corey. I sell commercial real estate. That's how I make my living.
Max.
Max offers his hand. The voice, Corey, doesn't shake it. Sips his drink instead. Look, I've only got like 5 minutes, you know, very busy. So, let's cut to the chase. Corey nods at the paper document. So the offer's on the second page. Max picks up the document, flips to the second page, and sees the offer.
That's it?
Corey swirls the straw through his drink. Uh-huh.
But this is my life.
Guy, you want some free advice? You can't take life too seriously. Corey laughs. Max's eyes widen as Corey takes another sip.
Why did you want us to dam the river?
Corey looks to Max, confused. He's clearly forgotten about the river. He's trying to save face. I'll ask the questions here. Corey sits down, his drink on a small table between the lounge chairs. You know, if I'm being honest with myself, this whole thing, just not fun anymore, you know? Max cocks his head, rage building. I mean, you know, it used to be. I don't know, it was exciting, it was different. You know, but the truth be told, it's not so much of a moneymaker anymore, you know? I got a buddy, he invested in car washes. Cleaned up. You know, maybe that's what I'll do. Car washes. I mean, everybody uses them. A long pause as Corey considers his options. Max just stares ahead, flabbergasted. Yep. Fuck it. Wrap it up. Corey stands and stretches his back.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm over it.
What am I supposed to do?
Oh, that's not my problem. You'll figure it out. Corey reaches for his drink. Max clutches it, stands, and glares at Corey, each with a hand on the fruity cocktail. Corey tries to jerk the glass out of Max's hand, but he's just a little weakling. Corey looks at Max, clearly upset, jerks again, but Max refuses. Finally, Corey lets go. I'll just, whatever. Corey walks to the bar, dragging his feet like a child. Max sinks to the lounge chair, puts his feet up. He looks at the icy, delicious cocktail in his hand, takes a sip, sighs. It's perfect. He closes his eyes, pulled back on Max, feet up in a comfy chair overlooking a gorgeous ocean with a drink in his hand and the island breeze running through his hair. He has no job, no prospects, and no idea what he's going to do. But he looks like a winner. And isn't that what it's all about? Cut to black. I am a time bomb. The end.
Holy cow. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Yeah, that was cool.
Great job, both of you. Wow, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Zach, good job.
Yeah, you too, Michael. You were fantastic. Really, I loved your band, man. It was fantastic.
Thanks.
It's so funny hearing this and like seeing you guys, and because I'm like watching it happen, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's like exactly how I hear it. And like, then there's other times I'm like, wait, say it this way. Like I'm constantly. You guys were amazing. Like, did you have fun?
Oh, it was a blast.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Do you want to? So, I guess over the last like 5 or 10 or so, if you want, what thoughts on the script? When you guys read this, when you think about your characters, I'll throw it to you first, Michael, because Zach gave me a little bit. What do you think when you read the script and now that you've read through it in character?
I think I would have done it differently. He needed to be more constantly being a salesman, I guess, um, which I would have worked on. But no, I like the script. um, the ending, I mean, throughout while reading it, there's a lot of confusing parts
Okay.
and a lot of like how does he how does he know what time it is on the time clock, uh, the voice, and how does the voice change it, and how does he know where he's at? Are there cameras everywhere? But then at the end, it kind of helps tie that up, sort of in a Twilight Zone way.
So, yeah, in regards to that, I never even thought about ever attempting to explain that, just because the less sense it makes, it seems the more to fit the allegory of this, again, just this thing being in complete control of you and it being able to pull the levers and cranks and do whatever it wants, and without rhyme or reason.
Because at first you're thinking it's some sort of realism or Hunger Games or um, some sort of. I was going for it must be real in some way, but so then if I just let that go, the answers aren't as important.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder if, again, I always, it's weird, even as it is absurd, I do think of it as like holding on to that realism. I know Max, Zach, what did you think as far as like the realism and as far as like the absurdity, I guess, your viewing of it as far as what we're talking about?
Yeah, it was kind of fascinating to me because just as a little background to Michael, I'm a teacher actually for the most part. I've been teaching college English for the last 2 years, and I just finished my student teaching to move into high school level, and it was really fascinating because in my student teaching just recently, we one of like the last things I did was this big unit on magical realism, and there's this fascinating stuff within the magical realism genre, this kind of purposeful ambiguity that sort of takes like to make a magical realism story. The idea is you're taking something, you're taking a wholly ordinary setting and adding like little extraordinary elements to that without any real explanation as to where they come from. And that sort of is kind of what gives it what gives the genre its shape, and also as Derek was saying, kind of feeds into the overall allegory that it's doing. And especially I think that also transfers over into like what you'd call speculative fiction, like the Twilight Zone, sort of Night Gallery, all that kind of just taking like that perfectly ordinary scenario and giving it that kind of extraordinary, like just that little extraordinary element that really like brings out all of the really cool thematic notes that are in there. I mean, because what's really cool about this is I've just sort of been in that way of like designing lessons for the last few months, so I couldn't help but think about like, all right, how many different things could I touch this on in a lesson where it's like, you could bring this to climate change, to economics, to politics, to economic disparity, to ages, like all this kind of stuff that just like that kind of touches on it. It kind of hits all of those notes in an interesting way and kind of hits them through the same things, like which I really enjoyed about that. Yeah,
that's interesting. You know what? So for me, it's always was just approaching it as like, these are two guys in an office competing for the same job, but just throw it in somewhere else. I have a question. I have a couple questions for each of you guys related to your characters, but then also just related to the work in general. So, Zach, you mentioned ageism. So obviously for me, the script, a lot of it is the generational divide. Boomers, millennials. So in my mind, I was always afraid of it was too one-sided as far as who you're supposed to root for versus who you're not. And I kind of coped with that by making the voice also a millennial. Because since he's ultimately, since he's really the puppet master and ultimately the villain of the story. So, and both of you guys,
he's not great.
He's not great. What did you think to that? Did it work? Was it too? How did you read that entire aspect of everything. Whoever wants to start.
I mean, at least from the perspective of that, I thought it was a cool choice to make the voice in his 30s, like to put him a lot closer to Max, to kind of show that this idea of the evil that they're searching for is not necessarily, it's not that like the boomers are inherently evil, the millennials are inherently evil. There's this mentality, and whoever happens to have it, no matter that age, they're kind of there, and which kind of gave me this really, really, the only way I can put it is like delicious frustration through the whole thing, at like seeing like Max and Ben, like if these two could just like get the fuck out of their own way for 9 seconds and start working together.
The minefield.
Like, yeah, it could have been so easy, but like in that respect, I would have also liked to see, like, the only like maybe note I would have is maybe have Max a little bit more like hesitant to dismiss anything that Ben, or at least make it like the dismissal of Ben a little bit more obvious, because I think Ben, like, he comes across like there's that, and again, I don't know if it's just my perspective as like, being someone 35 reading it who's like hearing this, but he does kind of come off a little bit as bullyish. Mm-hmm. And it's a cool thing, but I try to see from both perspectives, and I love that monologue about how somebody's always there to take it from him.
What did you?
Which I thought Michael did such a fantastic job with that. That was like one of the monologues I was really looking forward to hearing the most, and it was just like,
oh, he did great. What did you think, Michael? Yeah. Also, great
job. I thought Ben was the bad guy because he's the one that's always fucking Max over. So, but I also didn't take it as, even though Max is always mounting Ben for some reason. But,
they take turns mounting each other.
When do we film this?
There is a visual powered.
Yeah. There's a fourth Austrian voice here, like, so tell me about your mother.
Exactly.
Tell me about the mountain.
No, but I thought Ben was the bad guy because he's the one that's fucking Max over all the time, but I didn't equate that with ageism. So I didn't say oh, he's the bad guy because he's older. But
go ahead.
It's clear that Max is not the bad guy. And in fact, when he's struggling with whether or not to help Ben after he's escaped from the wristband, there's caring and compassion there. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And when we say ageism, I don't think I mean. I just mean like, I wanted to make sure the script wasn't too broadly saying Ben is wrong, or Ben is vile, Ben is evil. And I think a lot of that, again, that was why I incorporated that wounded mentality of, I've been doing this my whole life. What I have to be this way to you because I know eventually you're gonna, anything I do, you're just gonna get it. You're gonna take it. And again, you did a beautiful job. I think, and that's going to be like, if this were to be on a stage, that's the direction of Ben has to like you said, he's a salesman, and he has to constantly be going back and forth between, I'm just crossing the line of bullying, or I'm pulling it back, and yeah, but we're buddies.
I have this, and the reason that came to me is because I have this aversion to salespeople.
Oh yeah.
Not only in the store, but people that are salesmen, they're just always salesmen. Like, great headphones, Derek. Really love those headphones. Like, it's like,
oh, it's like it's sociopathic.
Headphones too much. Like, where'd you get that blue shirt? That's a great blue shirt. Have you ever gone to the mall before? Like, it's just like
they can't turn it off, and that's so.
Yeah.
The voice.
It's kind of thinking. I was thinking he should have been more salesman-ish.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Go ahead, Zach.
I was kind of thinking. I'm guessing you guys have seen the film version of Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's. I mean, yep. I highly recommend. As far as like a quarantine watch goes, it's fantastic. Right. I caught it the other day, and there's this thing with Jack Lemmon's character, especially, that kind of reminded me a little bit of Ben.
Brilliant.
Where it's such a brilliant performance, but there's this amazing thing where he's like, the way he talks and the way he does, and then like the minute he's on the phone with a client, hello, this is Sheldon Levine. To whom like it's that there's that show that there's like such a disparity between the phone voice and the actual Shelley Levine it just kind of reminded me of that aspect of a salesman, is just like you turn it on, you're getting inside, you're finding
And
out.
always trying to think 2 steps ahead.
Oh yes.
Yes.
And in that,
which the millennials are more living in the present, and so it is that thinking 2 steps ahead sort of thing.
and that's so. When I wrote this, I always pictured as everything Ben does, whether he's knocked out and quotation fingers, or whether he's just laying there being a shit. Everything he's doing, all the questions he's asking, are always just I'm gaining information or I'm wearing this guy down. So I want to ask you a question, Michael, as you read it. Why do you think Ben is laughing at the end after Max asks him, what are their names?
Because he doesn't have, it's all fake.
Zach, what did you think?
I thought,
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I thought it was all, it's part of the shtick and part of the story. And maybe he has a wife, but he might also just be alone at his apartment as well.
Zach?
That's kind of what it led me towards too, this idea that like, and again, it's that whole thing of like Max lives more in the present, whereas Ben lives a couple steps ahead, that kind of, that idea that, and I think that's part of it too, is that as a salesman, like he kind of says like, I know what it takes to get into people's head. And maybe one thing is like, hey, I've got something that you don't. Like I've got this family, this thing that you kind of want. And maybe at first it's a way to like get Max to look up to him, but then it sort of becomes this chit that he can play to gain sympathy. Which, yeah, I think is, yeah.
I get more of, I know that you can't have a family and you obviously don't have the career because of your age. So therefore, I'm going to play this version of my shtick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always thinking 2 steps ahead. And this is the first time that you got me. This is the first time you got me by asking the names. And it's like, oh shit, this guy, he's not as stupid as I thought he was. You know?
No, that's
and I love that.
Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, and I love that he doesn't ask the question until like everything else has been exhausted. They're just like, they're both like at their breaking points too. So
well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Like when it says, as you were reading wonderfully, Zach, as they're going up the mountain and just when it says screaming or yelling incoherently at each other. To me, when I picture it, at that point, they're not even human. They're just literally like animals, just yelling at each other, like just screaming nonsense to each other with all the rain and the thunder and literally the earth, Mother Nature itself attacking them and destroying them. So what was I going to ask you guys? I had a good one. The reason I asked about the family thing is because in my mind, you're absolutely right, Michael. This is actually Ben's job. This is the thing that, like, in a weird way, this is the thing that, oh no, I've dedicated my life to this. This is all I have. Now I remember. What did you guys, how did you feel about the negotiation for the water? What did that elicit in you? What did that make you think of? What did that bring out? Effective or ineffective?
I find it comical.
Oh, that's good.
There's a couple pieces in here that are funny.
Zach, I had to hide my face. Zach, you were making me laugh so much with your dialogue. My God, your performance.
Not even your reading, but yeah. And when you you skipped a number, like that was great. Which also has to make you think, what kind of a salesman is he?
Exactly. Like, yeah, the negotiation was fantastic. I really, that is like, that's one of my it's one of the parts that I found really that was good dark comedy.
Have you guys ever had to do that? Have you ever been in that situation? Like that
to negotiate over water?
Well, no. Like that.
I mean, I've met a couple of bridge trolls in my day, but yeah.
No, so like negotiating, haggling back and forth like that, whether for a job or for trying to buy or sell something.
Yeah, I don't do that. I hate that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sadly, the world of education is very much like, here's what we're going to pay you. And I'm like, oh, that sounds delightful. Because, it's more than not. Yeah. So
So my last job before I worked for myself, oh, excuse me, my last job before I moved into Chicago, that was the interview. I had to literally sit there and he threw out a horrible number. I had to throw out the different one, and there was this like chasm of silence, and it was just so uncomfortable. And what I thought was, and goes into the whole, this speaking to either capitalism or economics in general or hierarchy. When I got and stepped into this job interview, he gave me this speech of, "Hey, my name is so and so. This is what I do for a living," and he recited it perfectly. Then once I had the job, we started hiring people, and I got to watch oh, you do the speech for everybody. You have this rehearsed like clockwork. You are so, I don't know, not in my opinion, my not medical opinion, sociopathic, that this is really like, there is no real you. There is just this, I'm just going to talk to you with a smile and you're just going to eat it up because I know I'm smarter than you. And that was a lot of the mentality I had certainly for Ben more than anybody else. Also, like, obviously, I think the voice is so heightened and gives so few, has so few cares that I think Ben is more of he's not as good. Ben, you're not as good at it because you don't have the power, but there is that tendency in both of you, whereas I think Max has none of that at all.
And I also think for at least the way I read it was like it actually, I mean, it has stakes for Ben, whereas like everything that occurs from page 1 to the fade to black has no real consequences for the voice too. It's just like this is Thursday, and if these two guys like don't make it, well, I mean, there's always Friday, that kind of thing. That there's
two other guys.
Seeing you at the end, it was like, of course he's in a Hawaiian shirt with a cocktail. Like,
yes, yeah,
of course.
It's just like that picturesque that picturesque douche who's like, who's like, you can tell. I love the disjointedness of it, where like there's almost times where I wanted to see it, and clearly this is not the only thing he's focusing on. Like he's got to be watching something on Netflix, or he's like playing Candy Crush or some stupid shit like that. Just he's like, his attention is divided in some way.
Oh,
the fact that he can never, like, he constantly forgets the word bomb. It's is pretty delightful.
Do you forget the word bomb, or do you just like hearing Max say it?
Oh, that's interesting.
That's it. Yeah, that part of it too was kind of fascinating.
Oh gosh.
We're taking you to your what's it called? Execution. That's the word I'm looking for.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Again, any questions from you guys? Any thoughts that you had while reading it out loud versus when you were reading it to yourself? Or is it, I mean, I know this is not a subtle script, I admit that, but
I am fascinated to see how you would do this on a stage.
Yeah.
With the graphic details. But I think the idea could be very theatrical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me too, is like, because the idea of putting this on a stage, like, it could be really cool, especially like given how you could stage it, given like the ways you can do sort of different unique like stage design and stuff like that. I was kind of fascinated to do it. And then Mike, when you brought up the idea of doing it as like a radio play, that could be very cool too. Just because it's as part of like this whole social distancing thing, I found myself like finally going through some of the podcasts I've been meaning to listen, and there's a couple of like stage radio plays that I think are actually like so brilliantly done. And as someone who, like, my parents used to like give me tapes of like The Shadow and The Green Hornet and the Mercury Theater, and even like the comedies like Burns and Allen, which is why when you said hello, Mike, I was like, he's Gracie. I was like, that's fantastic. So hearing all that stuff, like, I think it's something that could lend itself to a couple of different like dramatic interpretations.
Well, yeah. Again, if anyone knows a producer, you guys let me know. I'm happy to keep it a movie. I just feel like, that's not really an option right now as far as like, where the hell am I going to get the budget for that? But I think changing a lot of the action to literally like just the mind of Max and just allowing him to describe what's going through, splitting it up between Max and Ben. allowing for lighting, sound effects, things like that, and a clever staging would be the key. But yeah, again, it would be. That is what I'm going to spend a lot of this quarantine.
To give a challenge for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm gonna be looking for spaces in Chicago once I figure that out, and probably do a diorama in the meantime. Something very. But
I mean, you've definitely, if there's a time for dioramas, it's now. I mean,
Now is the time.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much. You gave me 2 hours of your night. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope this was at least fun for both of you. Michael, it was amazing to see you again. Brilliant performance. Zach, I see you.
Great to see you.
I don't see you enough, Zach. I don't see either of you enough, but also brilliant performance.
Thank you. I agree, and it was a blast meeting you and working with you, Mike.
Nice to meet you, Zach.
All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'm gonna end the
Bye.
meeting. Have a good one.
Thank you. Good
Good
night.
night. Stay safe.
Bye, guys.